It is absolutely freezing here in the southwest of France as we get down to the beach early in the morning here on day 9 of the waiting period, October 14th, here for the Quicksilver and Roxy Pro. Thanks for watching Dawn Patrol as we wait for the official call to see if we will get underway. We have a few things to go through. I'm going to put Potts and Rosie on the spot to see who's going to win the Quick and Roxy Pro this season in 2015. We'll get caught up in the world title race for the women as we rewind all the way back to Snapper to see how many times the Jeep Yellow Jersey traded hands. We'll get into the forecast and also talk about the conversation for the heat of the year, coming off a couple epic ones in round 3 for the Quicksilver Pro. Joe Chappelle with Martin Potter from Strange Desires.
Yep.
One of my favorite movies, by the way.
Strange.
Very strange. Rosie Hodge, former tour competitor. Morning, Ro.
Good morning.
Warming up a little bit here. It's
it is cold. It is cold, by the way.
Yeah.
You need a Roxy jacket, Joe.
Exactly. It's very important on a day like today.
It would suit him.
I know, and the pebble beanie.
Well, guys, we've seen a lot of very different conditions. We've seen big waves. We've seen really small, rippable waves. We'll start with the Roxy Pro conversation because we have some fun matchups to watch.
Yep.
Tyler Wright takes on Sage Erickson, Carissa Moore, Tatiana Weston-Webb. Pot, starting with you, who's going to win the title this year?
I think Carissa's too strong, just especially when she gets this far in an event as well. Got herself out of the world title race last year. I think that stung enough to make sure that that wasn't going to happen again. Tatiana's going to be, putting up the gloves and giving it a good bash. But I think once you get to this part of the event, Carissa's got way too much knowledge as well as strength to let it slide away.
Rosie, agree or disagree? What do you think about that rule?
Yeah, I'm gonna echo what you said. I think Carissa Moore, we've seen her when she's had disappointing results, absolutely go on a tear. I think that's kind of the theme. Cash Case was disappointing for her. I think Carissa Moore is going to take this one out.
Exciting, putting it out there. I love it. Now let's get the official call to see if we will have a finals day. As we said, big good morning to Strider Wasilewski on the beach.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, it's definitely chilly down on the beach right now. Jessie's got her beanie on. She's ready for the cold. What are we going to get into today?
Yeah, it's still, there's not really much happening out there, so we're going to be off for the day, both men and women. We talked about, waiting for this swell that we know is going to come and, being on hold and waiting for a few hours but I think the wind's going to come up, and we've definitely got really good waves tomorrow, so we're definitely going to, put our hopes on that.
Well, with the waves coming, do you think that the women would want to get out there in the bigger surf?
I think for sure, this crop of girls we have right now, there's a few of them that are really into big waves, and I know that Tatiana and Tyler, when we've looked at past performances, we've seen Tyler at P-Pass, probably 12-foot P-Pass, kind of absolutely ripping. So, and I have Sage and Carissa as well, and Carissa obviously being Hawaiian, she's been in the men's Triple Crown events before, and Sage has been on tour for a long time as well, and everyone's into bigger swells, and there's nothing there I don't think that we can't do. So I think it'd be definitely tricky for us if it's going to be 8 foot, but that's what we're here for. We're here in Hossegor to get barreled, so I'd be stoked to have the women out there.
There you have it, guys. Sounds like the women and the men could be on tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Strider, and Jessie Miley-Dyer, our Deputy Commissioner, former tour competitor herself, making the quick call to shut it down for the day. There's a slight possibility they're thinking about maybe waiting around this afternoon for that spike in the swell, but being this late, probably might as well call it a day, come back first thing in the morning as we check out the Surfline forecast to see what we could possibly have starting tomorrow morning, Potts.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great day of surfing. I mean, we've got offshore winds this morning. As you heard Jessie say, it's going to go onshore later in the day. The swell is going to spike quite a bit this evening. But tomorrow and Friday look amazing, which means that if we get this thing done tomorrow, then we get to surf on Friday. But it's looking good, and I'm stoked that Jessie's prepared to throw the women out there as well. Rosie, they're not scared of charging. Offshore winds expected for Thursday morning. I think it's going to be on.
Exactly. I mean, you just look, we're lucky enough to get these Surfline forecasts sent to us, and one of the top banners for Thursday is this is the most favourable day in the waiting period, so that's really something to look forward to and really start rubbing your hands together for potential final days for Thursday, and then even Friday is fun, so we've got a lot to play around with the next couple days.
Well, today was the potential for running in smaller surf. Now looking at the charts, 5 to 7 foot first thing in the morning. Are you guys staying with your picks for the win, knowing that it could be pretty solid?
Absolutely. It's big barrels, and Jessie said that Carissa's from Hawaii, she surfed and all that kind of stuff before. Tatiana has proved that she's prepared to pull in. Tyler Wright's not scared as well, and nor is Sage Erickson. So the four girls, the four women that are left, will definitely light it up.
Yeah, that is actually interesting with that building swell. I mean, Tatiana, we saw her get thrown out in pretty tricky conditions, and she came out with a 10, so that's going to be an interesting matchup with Carissa Moore.
Epic. Looking forward to a possible finals day tomorrow. Coming up next on Dawn Patrol, we'll talk about the world title race for the top 17 in the world. That's coming up next. Good morning and welcome to Dawn Patrol here at the Quicksilver Pro and Roxy Pro, the 9th stop of the Samsung Galaxy Championship Tour. We're the only ones here on a nice, beautiful morning. The ocean is completely flat, so no one's getting the warm-up surfing yet. If you're just joining us, contest off today, but anticipating really, really fun waves tomorrow for a finals day, not just for the women, but also for the men. It is stop 9, so it's a good chance to get caught up with this exciting world title race. Martin Potter, Rosie Hodge on hand. Potts, remember at the WSL Awards, it was really interesting just looking at the world's best accept their trophies. Carissa Moore and Stephanie Gilmore have one of the best rivalries of the sport, and you can see how intense that was even before the first heat started.
Yeah, I mean, Carissa had to hand over the trophy, didn't she? And she didn't like that at all. I mean, there was I was standing next to her, and there was this energy that was coming off her. It wasn't a negative energy. It was positive, and it was one of those things of, hey, I've won Maui, I'm going to come out this year, and I'm going to fire. She got that roll going, and she hasn't really let off, has she? She's had her foot on the gas ever since.
Yeah, Carissa Moore has been looking so impeccable, and you just think about the role that she played in actually winning the 6 world title for Stephanie Gilmore, taking out Tyler Wright in Maui. But like you mentioned, she came into the Gold Coast, beat Stephanie on her home turf at a local break.
A huge role for Carissa Moore, as she, remember, made the final in Maui, won it, back-to-back finals here at Snapper Rocks, and then had Steph Gilmore in the final at this stage. It was a big matchup. Gilmore didn't want to go down on her home court. Then we saw a repeat matchup. Steph and Carissa going blow for blow at Bells Beach.
Yeah, Bells is Carissa's favourite wave, I reckon. It's to me, it's where she does her best surfing. It's one of those tricky waves. Carissa just absolutely lit it up and went back-to-back. And, you know, the writing was on the wall, but then again, she'd done that last year as well, Rosie, and then fell away. So, you know, this was one of those nervous moments really for Carissa was, you know, Courtney Conlog came out of nowhere.
Yeah, Courtney Conlog just stamped her authority all over Margaret River. They actually met up in the final, Carissa and Courtney, and it was Courtney that was able to take that win off the go and really went on a rampage after that.
So this was the event where Stephanie Gilmore suffered the injury free surfing. That gave Courtney Conlog a walkthrough. She walked all the way into the final at Margaret River and took down Carissa Moore through a crazy roll. That would have been her third straight win. 10 seconds after this final, Carissa got an epic one that could have made the difference, but it was Courtney's day, finally getting a huge win on an event where she's always predicted to do really well. The impressive part for you, Potts, was how she backed it up in a completely different venue at Bahada Tijuca.
Which what it takes to win a world title. You've got to be able to charge in every kind of condition. You've got to be able to, adapt, surfboard-wise, headspace-wise, and she did exactly that. I mean, you can see the difference between Margaret's in that 8 to 10 foot range, and then just this mushy little beach break that Courtney found a gem little board under her feet and went on to win that. So 2 for Carissa, 2 for Courtney. It was going to be a seesaw battle all year.
Exciting start of the season, starting to see the momentum shift. Courtney Conlogue taking over, all of a sudden getting into the spot where she could be in her first world title race. Rosie, you think about spoilers. Bianca Batendog taking out Carissa Moore. Bianca's taken out Carissa twice. We'll see how that affects the end of the season.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Bianca's actually made 3 finals this season, but unable to convert that to a win. But it's just really been interesting just seeing the people that have made finals. Lakey Peterson's been in a final this year. So really that top 6 is starting to get a little bit of a shake-up on the women's race.
And then the next story goes, we hop over to the beautiful island of Tavarua for the Fiji Pro. Sally Fitzgibbons went in as the defending champ. She was winless. Her quarterfinal streak was broken, so it was a big win situation. She busted her eardrum in the round 2 matchup against Mahina Maeda, and against doctor's orders, decided to just get it taped up and soldier on, and she received warrior status for this big win.
Yeah, she did. I mean, that was just an insight on how much of just a soldier that Sally Fitzgibbons is. The thing that with that ear, though, it kind of made her think a little bit more. It kind of made her make sure she was on the good one. She didn't pick any bad waves. She didn't fall off. And I think it sort of went a long way to helping her win that event. But in saying that, when you bust your eardrum, your equilibrium's gone. For her to be able to surf as good as she did in that event was just beyond amazing.
Exactly. I mean, Sally must have such bittersweet memories from Fiji. I know that she did break her hand in a free surfing session that she had with her brother a couple of years earlier, and then to win that one was just incredible.
Moving back to Southern California, we didn't have much surf for the U.S. Open this season, and we saw Joanne Defay finally get over a heat over her best friend and Bianca Batendog and matched up with Sally Fitzgibbons in the final.
Yeah, Sally, well, she's a warrior, and she in every kind of condition. So, making this final was good for her. But Joanne Defay, this was her breakthrough win. Last year she was celebrating quarterfinal results. Then it went on to the semis, and then now this year, her second year on tour, pulling out a win. So she's just thrown her hat in the mix of being one of those ones to beat. No longer the rookie, but now the seasoned campaigner.
Yeah, I'm so happy to see Joanne really put her hand up for that. She's so confident, and her surfing's matured so much. Just to see her take a win. I mean, some people surf their whole careers without taking an event win, and Joanne's done it on her second full season as a to a competitor.
Exactly, yeah. It's fun to see those new names pop up. She's had matchups with Tyler in this event, and she's the higher seed, and she's acting like it. The season got exciting again, staying in California, moving to Lower Trestles for the Swatch Women's Pro. Such a rippable skate park of a wave. Remember last year it was Gilmore taking this one out. She still wasn't ready to come back to compete, and Carissa Moore showed why this is one of her favorite waves in the whole world. Another big battle, seeing how radical she can get off the top bots.
Well, Bianca threw everything at her. I mean, look at the backside attack that Bianca's got. She's starting to sharpen her skills, but she came up against Carissa, who's got that ability to crank it up to that next gear. Forget about 3rd and 4th gear. She's got 5th and 6th, and amazing surfing there from Carissa.
Carissa stole the yellow jersey off of Courtney Conlogue. She wasn't happy about that. Went down to Cascais for what we heard, Rosie. Challenging conditions. Courtney's strength just to read and adapt lineups really made the big difference.
Exactly. I mean, Courtney Conlogue coming up against Lakey Peterson, Lakey's first final of the year, but Courtney was just so willing to adapt, and she just took everything with a smile on her face, and that really was the difference. She was just having fun, and it just seemed to suit her. I mean, these little gems would pop up to her, and she would just go to town. So Courtney, well deserved of taking the yellow jersey back coming into the Roxy Pro.
So crucial for Courtney Conlogue to showcase that beach break talent, get the yellow jersey back. She's so solid in really tricky conditions, warming up so often at the Huntington Pier. Lakey also made a big strike. Lakey, kind of like Bianca, has been tough for Carissa. Lakey's also taken out Carissa Moore 2 times this season.
Yeah, Lakey's thrown her hat in the mix. The usual 4 women that have been dominating this tour, that's changed. Courtney's up there. Lakey as well, and Bianca's knocking on the door too, ranked number 5 in the world. So I like this shake-up. Obviously Steph Gilmore's injuries left up that extra space open, but once Steph comes back, we saw a little glimpse of her coming back here at the Roxy Pro. She's in good form, just a little bit rusty, kind of let Sage out paddle her and took that heat. So a couple events to go. Carissa's going to take the yellow jersey back, Joe, and it's going to come down to Maui.
As we check out the schedule for the Samsung Galaxy Championship Tour, this is event number 9 here at the Roxy Pro France, and then we finish off the year at the Target Maui Pro at Honolulu Bay, and that's where the world title will be going down. As you know, back in round 4, Tyler Wright took out Courtney Conlogue, with Carissa Moore making it into the semifinals. Carissa will be wearing the Jeep yellow jersey heading into the final stop, and she is the defending champ.
Yep.
And Rosie, when you look at number 1 and 2 in the world from last year, Tyler Wright, Stephanie Gilmore, they're just spoilers now heading into the final event of the season.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So the role that they play, and I mean, Stephanie Gilmore coming into that one as a spoiler, she said that she really wants to throw the cat amongst the pigeons, which I really like from her. That competitive spirit has not died down at all. So just to see her coming into Maui and the potential that she has to upset the world title race is going to be so interesting to see.
Exciting season in 2015 with a potential finals day as early as tomorrow for the Roxy Pro and the Quicksilver Pro. Coming up next on Dawn Patrol, we'll go to the men's heat of the year. Which one do you think is the best of this season? Thanks for being with us here in the southwest of France. You're watching the Quicksilver and Roxy Pro, the 9th stop of the season on the Samsung Galaxy Championship Tour. A very quiet morning here in Hossegor. A couple little waves starting to show up, so maybe we'll get a sneaky little free surf in, but the contest will be next call for tomorrow. We start thinking about heats, Potts, Rosie, and you start thinking about some heats that you never stop talking about.
Yep.
Kind of just going back to last year, the semifinal with Kelly Slater and John Florence. That'll always be compared to the best heats of all time.
I think it is. I've been around a long time. So yeah, and I've seen a lot of heats, and I think that was definitely one of the best I've ever seen, for sure.
Rosie, you think about what we've had in this contest. We had a special round 3 day for the Quicksilver Pro. Bede Durbridge has had this crazy comeback to form, surfing the best in his game, and also Ace Buchan, amazing, trading 9s in this matchup the other day.
Well, that was the thing. I mean, as soon as the hooter went off, Ace Buchan paddled into this nugget, and I mean, to drop a 9 on your first wave, to make that kind of impression on the judges straight off the bat, that's just so impressive.
Yeah, Bede's heard that score get dropped, didn't he, Joe? And he made a beeline for the same section of bank. Bede's was a 7.33 on his opening wave, paddled down and then got this. Just an absolute blitzer of a wave, and you know, Bede just, I don't know what's happened with him. He's done a lot of work on the off season. He's got some beautiful boards under his feet, but he's just surfing insane right now.
That was the big call though, Potts. He was surfing somewhere else. Ace got the 9. He knew he had to make a transition, and then Bede got back-to-back 9s, 2 waves in a row. to take over this heat. When Ace was surfing in fine form, it was this long running right that kept on giving. And he got to showcase so many different types of turns, Rosie. He looks unstoppable.
Yeah, you know it's a really good heat when it's getting called out by your peers. Julian Wilson put up on Instagram that he thought that was the heat of the year. So, you know, it really makes you pay attention when people are surfing that well with that kind of level of performance, dropping nines, going wave for wave.
That was cool to see those big numbers lock in. Quickly, Julian Wilson was on his Instagram saying heat of the year, putting that as his vote. And then that got us thinking. Rosie had her hand up in the meeting the other day and was like, what about John, Gabriel Medina, Tahiti? That's got to be one. Round 3, heat number 5 was an absolute showstopper back in Chopu, Tahiti. This matchup just speaks for itself with the names on the heat sheet right here.
Yeah, I got 10 push-ups out of you after this heat, didn't I? But, you know, it was insane. I mean, both these guys, it could have gone either way. And, you know, the more we watched this footage, we were splitting hairs. I mean, both, you know, two of the best in the world, really, at tube riding. Gabriel Medina, the defending champion. John Florence, one of the best backside tube riders on the planet, with the strap on his ankle and all. Rosie was just getting barreled.
Exactly, this was his comeback event after that injury, so we couldn't wait to see what he did. That's why they met up in round 3, but it was so interesting. We just wanted this heat to go for hours. We wanted to see these guys, and we were like, oh, when they both go through, this is so unfortunate to lose either one of these competitors. Both of them were on fire.
We wanted 30 more minutes. The commissioner said we can't do that. That's against the rules. So we got this one closing out. It was Medina 9.27, 9.73. John Florence 9.57 and a 9.27 Potts. Remember you saying if John would have pulled that turn right there, he could have won this heat.
Exactly. I mean, that was the wave that came in just under the score, and had he come out on his feet, that's how close it was. I mean, you know, maneuvers are generally not coming into play at a place like Chopu, but it came down to had John pulled that maneuver off, I reckon he would have won the heat.
Another one in the running that came to mind, Kelly Slater, Mick Fanning in a semi-final at the J-Bay Open, Rosie.
Oh, I loved watching this matchup. I mean, Kelly had just got through Gabe Medina and they met up semi-finals. Mick Fanning was on a tear. I mean, I think J-Bay was just tailor-made for these two guys surfing, just that open canvas and that wall to work with.
So insane to see the form of Fanning, making no mistakes. He was out there early in the morning, warming up, and then taking on Kelly, a longtime rival. Had a comeback wave right in Kelly's face, did a couple of big combos, and it came to Kelly just falling at the end of his rides.
You know, I think this was probably the best I've seen Kelly surf all year, and, you know, just needed that little bit of time on his feet to get those boards worked out. I think, to me, that was the difference in this heat. I think Mick Fanning looked a little bit more comfortable on his equipment. I think Kelly was still working it out, but this wave right here was the difference. I mean, look at that. You talk about being tailor-made for a certain surfer, Rosie, you hit the nail on the head. J-Bay and Mick Fanning, it's like, you know, yin and yang, salt and pepper, black and white. It's one of those things that just go in the same conversation.
Exactly, and we talk about what's motivating Kelly Slater this season, and it's always the forecast. He'd have to be looking at the waves at J-Bay and just being, this is where I want to perform.
It's a fun matchup when you see the waves pumping. Fanning, Slater, two guys that have won there in the past. Doesn't get much better than that. Fanning went on to the final and split the points with Julian Wilson later on that day. We got Strider eavesdropping downstairs. Strider, what about you? A big heat coming to mind from this year?
Yeah, I've had a couple of favorites, but one of my favorites to watch was from the reef in Fiji at Cloudbreak. Jeremy Flores, Ricardo Christie. Ricardo's had some tough heats, but he's always battling so hard. You know, he got warmed up. But you know what? It was Jeremy Flores who started out the heat. I mean, the guy got some amazing waves. He's so good on the reefs, and he's just got a good flow out there. And, you know, Ricardo battled back. He's had such a strong showing this year. Unfortunately, he just can't quite get the jump. But, God, wave for wave, those guys got great waves.
It was insane to see Ricardo step up as a rookie and show what he could do here at Cloudbreak. Jeremy Flores, we know he was on a heater, went on to make the final series. As we saw, barrel for barrel, was so hard to beat Jeremy, but this is what the tough part. We're looking at Ricardo showing how he's capable of being on the top 34, but going down in a close matchup.
You know, he's had a couple of heats like that. He surfed well at Margaret River, as well as that heat with Joel Parkinson at J-Bay. They both were just going head-to-head, I think 17 plus points. It is a shame. I mean, he's been performing at a high level, but just getting those heats that, you know, his opponents lighting it up, and that's unfortunate.
Well, Ricardo really put in the hard yards. I mean, he stayed in Fiji a week before the contest while the ladies were there, and he would surf Cloudbreak relentlessly. I mean, big, small, shallow, just whatever conditions were on offer, Ricardo Christie was out there really putting in the hard yards.
That's great. Well, Strider, good pick on Heat of the Year. If you guys want to join that conversation, let us know at WSL on Twitter and get your pick. Parco, Ricardo Heat, J-Bay, also another great one.
Yep.
Up next on Dawn Patrol, we'll look inside the tube here at Hossegor with Lamp Patrol. Thanks for watching Dawn Patrol here at the Quicksilver and Roxy Pro. Sometimes the best vision is to talk to the locals like Laurent Pouljot, pulling in behind the world's best to get these images. We have Strider on the desk now. This is one of your great friends, and you've been involved on a lot of these sessions.
Yeah, running safety, trying to pick him up out of the pit. He actually pulls in behind the guy with the camera surfing. It's one of the most amazing things we've seen at the forefront of photography.
We'll leave you guys with that. Enjoy your day. We'll see you tomorrow for a potential finals day here at the Quicksilver and Roxy Pro.